Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a great lunch, and now it's time to start the first discussion of exploring a post-digital government. You can shape this discussion by navigating to the virtual event platform, finding the parallel best practice stage from the agenda, and then clicking on the Q&A button under the title Pre-requisites of Post-Digital Government. My name is Kedi Välba, and I'm the CEO of an Estonian software company, Actors, which is one of the creators of the national data exchange platform, X-Road, and several other e-government solutions. And I am joined here by Aimo Kõva, Business Development Manager from Daytel, Aare Reintsam, COO of Cybersecure Technologies, Dr. Ants Sild, Chairman of BCS Digital Skills Academy. But now let's get to the discussion. When we are talking about the prerequisites for the post-digital government, then there are many crucial components to it, such as the existence of the basic registries, core interoperability between the registries, a strong digital identity, cybersecurity, and so on. Ants, first to you. BCS is a long-time educator of digital skills, and everybody is talking about building the digital skills as one of the most important things. What do you think about this? Is it something that we should start with? Should it come along in the process? What's your opinion?
Definitely, the development of understanding and tackling the digital skills, even in the last year, has been tremendous. Today, it's no more need to discuss where the competitive advantage lies. It lies in our skills and competence to apply technology. At the same time, I would challenge us, the technology people, how we see and tackle it. And it seems we don't walk the talk when we are talking about going beyond technology, being user-centric, citizen-centric. What I mean here, I bring an analogy of your health and pharmaceutical industry. Are we supporting people having a healthy life, a healthy organization, or are we providing the pills? Are we quickly trying to seek what's the disease? What are the muscles he wants to pump up? And then quickly go to design the solution, the steroids, the vitamins, or medicine, and sell it to them. If we're thinking about a healthy organization, does it mean only tens or hundreds or thousands of well-developed e-services? It goes much beyond that. And it means implementing technology in all the parts of the organization. The management, in some cases, it needs just agile approach to our management. It may seem even enough to have a Excel spreadsheet use. So there's a wide range of needs. Do we address these, or we remain pharmaceutical selling the medicine, not supporting the healthy life? And there lies the post-digital understanding, to my understanding.
Aimo, Daytel has experience in developing some of the Estonian core registries and different geo-information systems. What do you think, or what's your opinion? Where should we start when we start digitalization of society?
Yeah, when we have the skills, the next step is quite boring, actually. The next step is registries. For example, civil registry is a good start. You need to have a unique identifier for all the citizens. Next, you should have a land registry, for example, because you need to know where the citizens are. On top of that, you can build the addressing system. Then One of the most important registries is business registry. You need to have it to understand what's going on. So yeah, I would start there. But of course, you cannot, if you are building these registries, you can never forget the interoperability part of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Interoperability indeed is very important. And if we look at the general digitalization, then cybersecurity is always a crucial part of the developments. Are Cyberxer is an expert in cybersecurity. Tell us about the importance of cybersecurity and how it fits into the picture when we're talking about the digitalization of government services.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here. Thank you for the question. And cybersecurity fits in very well. So without cybersecurity, we will have serious problems. And the problems might be that the services are not, let's say, available to you. And even bigger problem is that you might get the service that you don't want to have, or the data is corrupt. And these are the, let's say, the impacts of the cybersecurity. And now when we are talking about when to bring the cybersecurity in there, at what time, in a perfect world, we would like to have it, of course, in by design already. But from the experience point of view, I can say that we have seen where companies and governments are dealing with cybersecurity after the first breach. Until then, they don't do anything, and after the first breach, they will go, nuts and go to the other side and try to defend everything. So from that angle, you need to have a practical viewpoint and understand when do you bring the cybersecurity in to actually tackle these kind of problems that will impact us anyway.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. In the meantime, I will remind you that when you have questions for the panelists, then please ask them on the workshop platform. In very many countries, the digital divide and digital illiteracy is a big concern. Do you have an answer how we could bridge this gap and how we could address this problem and onboard these people?
Yes, I do. It's hard to put in practice, but the problem is obvious. There are hundreds of just such big programs going on around the world. They are losing momentum. The interest is declining. They don't deliver the results. And the question is that it's again designed by us, the technology people. Mm-hmm. We want to teach digital skills, how to browse, how to be cyber aware, how to use your spreadsheet or this specific service. Most of the people who have the interest into this digital world, they find their ways how to learn that. The majority of people are interested in their job, in their everyday life, and we must go to that. There's a killer app in the world for everybody of us. And we must support the people finding these real life, real job interest, and through this reach the people. If we don't do that, if we keep preaching how important is digital, there will be a majority of people. Even in the remotest village of Africa, there are solutions today that will make those people happy and using the technology the second day. This is where we must address our programs, not just general digital skills. It's hard, but it's obvious, but extremely hard.
When we look at the history of Estonia, then we had the Tiger Leap program where we also created the computer classes in school and also taught elderly. So if you're talking about Africa, then in many regions, the people are still using the feature phones. So what would be your suggestion how to actually approach this problem? Who should be doing providing the trainings or getting these digital solutions accessible for these people? Is it the public sector? Should it be the public-private partnership?
Of course, public sector can lead and support in developing such programs, but getting the private sector and the providers of technology on board and their interest, because they have the interest to get more application users, to get more internet subscribers, so there is their interest also. If we put these together, then there is a force that changes that. And the situation is much better than in Estonia, where we didn't have internet access almost at all, where a computer did cost as much as the best villa in Estonia. Today, a smartphone is already more or less accessible if there is the clear gain for me in using that. And that can be found for very many use cases.
Thank you, Ants. Aimo, you mentioned the importance of interoperability earlier. So if we look into the topic, then in Estonia we enjoy the fruits of a digital state in everyday world, and the youth actually these days cannot imagine the life going from one government office to the other to actually get service. So what do you think? In many countries this is not the case still, and the registries are working in silos. So if you look at from the citizen perspective, why is interoperability so important?
Really good question, and I do not know much about interoperability. It's not my field, but the question is quite well put from citizen perspective. From citizen perspective, it makes a lot of sense not to keep these in silos and have a good application there, because it wastes so much time if you have to work in silos. So the interoperability for the citizen side is I think the most important part. As an Estonian, yes, it feels really good when you go, if you buy a land and you have your e-notary, or you buy a house, everybody has the data they need. But yeah, in other parts of the world, it's not so. So we need to thrive to get there.
Mm-hmm. There is always the chicken and egg question, and which one was first. You mentioned earlier that cybersecurity should actually come from the very beginning. It's a very wide topic, on the other hand, but very important when we're talking about digitalization. When would be the right time to start with cybersecurity? Is it when we start building the IT solutions, or should we think about it before already? Or should we develop our solutions and then think how to protect the systems?
Again, very good question. So the books are referring that it has to be there by design. But usually when public offices or private sector companies are pushing some kind of services and digitalization, then the first thing is that you need to get the service out, and then all the other things come as an add-on or benefit. And this is what we see also is that, of course, by default, when you started from the early stage, then you will be by design already secure, and at least you can foresee some kind of vulnerabilities and impacts that can get to you. But usually the practice is that more and more, let's say, governments and companies are dealing it in the later phase, and that also is totally normal, because the maturity comes with experience. The more you push it, the more you see the attacks, then you will realize and understand that you need to put more and more effort into this cybersecurity field as well. But yes, in a perfect world, by design, in a realistic world where we live, then it comes usually a little bit as a sidetrack. And I already brought you the example in the first question, is that we don't do until we are hit, and when we are hit, then we usually intend to go to the other side and start doing it maybe not as we expected, but overdoing it heavily. So and also that comes from the Estonian side as well, that we like to think practically as much as possible, and the reason is also that it comes from the sometimes from the size that we are. So we are small, and we, when we're going to India, then the services that are there, the scalability, what we see there, the numbers that we see there, the services amount and how many people are using it, it's just more tremendous. So it's we are able to understand these kind of things and cybersecurity aspects earlier than others.
This relates to one of the questions that was asked on the workshop platform, that it was mentioned that the organizations often look into cybersecurity after their first breach. How can organizations better prepare proactively for new threats from emerging technologies like AI and quantum computing?
Oh yeah, nice keywords, and this is a life where we are at the moment living for, and the preparedness is the key word. So what you also mentioned is that we need to prepare and take these kind of actions before it will actually happen to us, and then the impact will be smaller. And what the AI is helping us to do is that it helps to generalize and predict some kind of let's say waves or activities that might hit us, and they are able to provide you some kind of not a crystal ball, but at least some kind of assumptions what might hit you and how to deal with that. And also from the AI side, what they are able to do is they are able to learn and detect these kind of attacks and measures earlier than us human beings. Quantum computing, of course, it is a must nowadays, since more and more machines are trying to, let's say, break into our digital society. For example, if we are, we have our Estonian ID card and smart ID, and if one country 10 times bigger than us is building a computer that is constantly, day by day, minute by minute, trying to hack our, let's say, algorithms, then if they are able to do that, then we have spent 30 years building something that is not secure and is breachable. Mm-hmm. So it is important, yeah.
Thank you for the answer. We have no more questions on workshop at this moment, but again, a reminder, if you have any questions for the panelists, then please put them on the workshop. Our panel is divided into two parts. One is the prerequisites of the post-digital government, and then we're discussing the future. I would like to ask each one of you, what are the most important prerequisites of post-digital government for you? Let's start with Aimo.
Requirements. I have to say again, boring stuff. All the registries are the pre-requirements, because you need to know your people. You need to know your environment. Without that, all these fun buzzwords like AI, and you don't have the data to give to AI. So prerequisites, I would have to say, the skills and registries.
Okay, Hans.
Digital is too dominating. We address all the questions of a business from our viewpoint of technology. Cybersecurity is a very good example. It's a totally different discipline now, mm-hmm. much bigger than all the risk management, etc. If it will become a part of our risk management, if we really are able to look at the organization holistically, what is a mature digital mature organization, and there see the part of the technology as an interesting part of that, and also have the top managers seeing it as a every field of activity part, and there we work together. That we don't see the digital. It's too dominating today, and that's why we are not getting the leaders so much abroad, and we are dealing it separately from the everyday life, and that brings the divide. If we change that, then we are in a healthy life, organization, and time.
Aare, the prerequisites.
Yeah, you don't want to say how do we change it, yeah? Yeah.
Going a step further from the technology, there is a gap between the pharmaceuticals providing the bills and the healthy life. Who fills that gap? The people themselves, the organizations themselves, the managers themselves, or we as technology people going step further and having the technology on the second phase. First, understanding the organization and the needs that might be not so digitally fancy, a bit boring for us, but more needed by the managers.
I think we have started already with renaming the, in Estonian it was Haigekassa and now it's Tervisekassa, so it was the sickness board, now it's the health board. So trying to get healthier.
Exactly, that's the mentality. And I'm also looking at from that side at how to prepare and how to raise the security awareness and the digitalization awareness as well, that you don't only see the benefits, but you also see the dark side of it, what it actually can bring in, and what is the impact if something goes wrong. Are we able to get enough people to provide the same service, at least on some kind of level, without the digitalization, let's say, processes behind it and the systems behind it? And also the other point, but what I'm seeing is that too less practical, points and activities. So we intend to talk too much, and usually when we talk too much and we don't do anything, then life goes by, and then we are stuck in a bad situation. So what I'm looking is that one thing is that you have to have the concept and understanding, but other thing is that get on it, start doing it, put your hands onto the machine, to the keyboard, and start typing and doing, and then you will at least get somewhere.
Ants, you had a comment.
I was feeling like throwing slogans and preaching. Wanted to bring an example that we have some success already with that in Estonia, building a digital leadership academy together for the top level public civil servants of Estonian government, together with our previous CIO Siim Sikkut also, and the public sector competence center, digital leadership academy for the top people, where we talk about managing an organization, maturity of organization, and there how digital can help, and what are the methods, how to manage an organization that does all that in strategy building, in value propositions, in processes, in all the aspects, how you put that to work.
Community building and information sharing.
Exactly.
So
all these tools that are available but are not so much used yet.
So it's only not enough to create programmers, but also we need that change in my mindset for the digital leadership and those skills.
We know where the problem is.
Yes.
It's not in technology.
Yeah.
It's
Technology
putting
is the
that in
easiest
use and those who put that in use in these organizations.
Yes. So we have some questions that have come. A question to the panel: what do you think about blockchain tech in its purest form? Is it possible to have it as a basic infrastructure for public sector, since in its purest form it cannot be applied to private sector? Who would like to answer? Ants, maybe. Or Aare?
What's the problem? What's really the real life topic we want to solve? And then we come to the best technology. That's my only.
Blockchain itself doesn't solve the problem itself. It's just a tool maybe to facilitate.
I was just bringing you one example.
Yes.
I just visited the RSA conference in San Francisco, and I was there also 5 years ago. Then every second booth was blockchain booth, and this time I went around and I didn't see any. So so that's the buzzwording things, and I don't say anything bad about blockchain. It's a good technology and it will come in use. But again, the same point is that we first have to understand the illness that we are fixing, and then we can go to the technology side.
We are a bit killing the users with the new fancy technologies. They are fantastic, but that's not where our problem is.
Here's also a question about implementing X-Road, which seems too expensive for small island developing states. I can maybe briefly comment on that as X-Road is open source and it has a global community behind it, you can also try to do it yourself with your own experts in your own country. So I wouldn't say it's expensive. It depends on the capacity and professionals that you have available. But to wrap up the first part of this panel, I would like you to ask you all what post-digital government means to you. What are the expectations to it? Aimo.
Well, post-digital. I would imagine that all the services that I need to use come directly to me, basically. So, for example, if I have bought a piece of land and probably I need to build something on it, then the local government already knows that I have these plans. So this is post-digital. They solve the problem for me already.
Thank you. Aare?
Yes, not much to add. I would also add one more thing, is passwordless.
Yeah.
So as if you could do it without any credentials, that you have your ID card, you have your username, passwords, and all these kind of things, it has to be a passwordless. All services accessible coming to you firstly, and then they have to be accessible without any other, let's say, limitations for the end users, but with other means that they are able to recognize you and make sure that it's you.
Hans, what does post-digital government mean to you?
Services are great. E-services are great and needed. But government is so much more. Public sector is so much more than services. It's